let's do one thing. Let us move on now and talk about Century Plyboard itself. Keshav Bhajanka, the Executive Director at Century Plyboards, joins us now to discuss demand trends, the outlook for the business and how the new year is expected to shape up. Keshav, good morning and Happy New Year to you in advance. Thanks a lot for being with us through the course of so many years. Tell us a little bit about how you're, shaping up for the new year in terms of business. Is business looking good? Is growth coming back in a big way? If yes, what are the big corporate triggers for you in the new year?
Good morning. Wish you a very happy new year in advance too. I think, this quarter, the demand was slightly subdued across our segments. But having said that, I think we have performed reasonably well. As market leaders, we have been able to maintain growth, which is something that I think was difficult considering the circumstances. This was primarily due to inflationary pressure, but I think that going forward, demand on the ground should look robust. I think this was a short-term blip, maybe for 1 or 2 quarters, and going forward, we are still very optimistic about a strong Q4 and an excellent FY24 ahead. Having said this, I think for us, one of the biggest growth triggers is our expanded capacity in Hoshiarpur, which should come into play next month. And that should lead to a much stronger growth in the MDF segment, as we are already operating close to 100%.
Right. Thank you for joining in, Keshav. Again, season's greetings. You said that the third quarter demand was rather subdued. I mean, if you could give us a quantitative sense of how it was, because after your second quarter numbers, you said that the first half where you grew around 17%, you were confident of closing this year well above that 20% guidance that you had. You've done well, but the quarter was subdued. Do you hold on to those, targets that you had alluded to?
Yes, definitely. We will definitely achieve those targets, and our aim shall be to better those targets. I think it was a quarter where we saw the peak of this inflationary pressure. The decision to go from a house to a home is one that requires a lot of thought. And I think that during this time period, the price of commodities such as steel, cement, everything had shot up to an extent where people were sort of deferring that action. However, a lot of these prices have corrected now. So I think Q4 will see robust demand on the ground again. And next year, considering the home sales, the house sales numbers that we are seeing, particularly in residential real estate, I think next year will be very strong.
Okay, but you also started by saying that the industry demand is muted, although you are the market leader, so you're doing pretty well. Do you reckon that there could be some catch-up on the downside? I mean, are you looking at perhaps a slowdown in demand compared to what you've seen in the pre-COVID levels? Maybe not now, maybe in FY24. And if yes, what could the average growth be?
I think our objective for growth remains 20% year on year, and we have multiple growth levers. As you know, we're the only company that is present in all these segments, in plywood, laminates, MDF, and particle board. Our new capacity, which has come on board in Hoshiarpur, which is about a 60% capacity addition to what we already have, is going to be a big growth lever for us going forward next year. We also have an expansion in the laminate capacity that is coming up, and number of brownfield expansions in plywood. So I think all of these are going to help us maintain our growth trajectory, and next year we should be looking at robust growth as well.
Right. You have given us a long-term target, total revenue target of close to 6,500 crores by FY27. We'll take it 1 year at a time. You said that you also briefly alluded to inflation, but there has been a correction of what, 10 to 20% in chemical costs. So what about timber, phenol? Have you cut your prices, the prices that you charge to consumers?
I think, there has been easing in certain raw material costs, such as chemicals, as you have already alluded to. But having said that, timber prices still remain somewhat high, particularly in the north. So overall, we have not taken any price corrections, maybe a slight price correction in the particle board segment. But other than that, all the remaining segments, there have been no price corrections, there have been no price reductions. Margins going forward should be better on account of the correction in the raw material prices.
For the MDF segment particularly, you had a target of 6,500 crores of revenues by FY27. Do you hold on to that, or would you want to scale it in any way?
No, I think that figure is a little incorrect. 6,500 was the target for the entire company.
Sorry, for the
Not
for the
just for the
entire
MDF.
business, yes.
So I think we are very well on track for the same.
Okay.
And our objective shall be to meet the same or to perhaps exceed it.
Okay, and particularly for MDF, what is the expectation?
So we are still very bullish on MDF. As you know, our new capacity in Hoshiarpur will be coming into play from next month itself. And we have a greenfield capacity addition in the state of Andhra Pradesh, which should come into play from H2 next year. So with both of these coming on track, because right now we're at 100% capacity, that becomes the obvious challenge for growth. But going forward, we are very confident that once these capacity additions come on stream, we shall grow at a robust pace in MDF as well.
Keshav, isn't there a lot of capacity coming up in MDF? Players, or is that not a concern? At least 3 large players are setting up new capacity.
I think, setting up a capacity and utilizing a capacity are two different things. Initially, when we had come up with our first capacity in Hoshiarpur, the same questions were being raised when we were new entrants to the market, how we would be able to gain market share. But I think the ramp up for us was the fastest in the industry. Again, going forward, considering our expertise in sales and marketing, our expertise in supply chain, in production, I think we will be able to ramp up perhaps faster than most.
Is there any other category that you're eyeing right now? You said you are you're present across the board when it comes to wood panels. There is laminates, there is MDF, there are plyboards, etc. But for home improvement, a lot of the larger home improvement players are looking at different categories as well. Are you eyeing any of them?
In our case, we're in a very peculiar situation where the growth levers within our categories are very strong. I think, I've spoken in the past about how China's production of MDF is 40 times that of India, of plywood is 20 times that of India, particle board is 30 plus times that of India. So I think we're in a very sweet spot where within our industry itself, there is tremendous scope for growth. So I think, as a company, we have decided that for at least 3 years, we will not be looking at any other category. We'll be focusing on the same 4 categories which we are in today: plywood, laminates, MDF, and particle board.
Okay, all right. Keshav, all the best. Thanks a lot for joining in. Have a great year ahead. We'll speak to you again very soon.
Thank you, and wish you the same.
Thank you. Let's step into a quick break. Up next, Raj Nayak of House of Cheer Networks and Abneesh Roy of Nuvama International Institutional Equities will join in to discuss how 2022 fared for the box office. And later, we'll also connect with Piroj Shah Sarkari of Gati to discuss latest trends in the logistics sector. Stay tuned.
Welcome back for the market.